Good evening. You're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, the politics over beef gets uglier as the death of a man in Dadri in Uttar Pradesh becomes a major poll issue in Bihar. Is there a deliberate attempt to polarize voters before the election? Also tonight, a committee appointed by the Speaker of the Delhi Assembly suggests a massive hike of MLA salaries by 400%. Are these the Aam Aadmi lawmakers that Delhi elected? Is this salary hike justified? And our special report tonight from Washington, D.C. Donald Trump's lead shrinks for the first time in opinion polls, but he's still the clear frontrunner for the Republicans. How and why he's leading the race. But first tonight, it's a full-blown political war over beef, and with polls in Bihar just days away, it's become a key election issue as well. The BJP today kept up its attack on Lalu Prasad Yadav for saying that Hindus eat beef as well, while Nitish Kumar hit out at the BJP, accusing them of trying to communalize the election. My colleague Alok Pandey has more.
Facing a persistent attack from the BJP over Rashtriya Janata Dal chief Lalu Yadav's remarks on Saturday, saying Hindus eat beef too, both leaders took to Twitter today to hit back. With Nitish Kumar tweeting, BJP in panic without Neta, Niti and Niyat in Bihar, and facing defeat, they are brazenly attempting to communalize and mask it with Modi's rhetorics. While Lalu was more aggressive in his counter, saying on Twitter, those who keep dogs should not teach anything to cowherds. You will find dogs at the homes of BJP leaders, not cows. But the BJP kept up its attack on Lalu, with controversial leader and central minister Giriraj Singh threatening a campaign against Lalu.
बिहार की जनता से बताऊंगा कि मैं 4 दिनों से प्रश्न खड़ा कर रहा हूं कि नीतीश कुमार लालू यादव ने कहा है कि गौ मांस हिंदू खाता है, ये अपमान है, हम गौ को पूजते हैं.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Bihar on Thursday for election rallies, and there is speculation that he could mention this issue in his speeches. But does the focus on beef take away from Bihar's core electoral issues of Bijli, Sadak, health? Or do these issues matter at all in such a polarized atmosphere? In Patna with Ashok Priyadarshi and camera person Habib Ali, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
So is this a deliberate attempt to polarize voters ahead of the elections in Bihar, which are, as I said, just days away? Joining us on the program tonight from the BJP leader and member of the party, Ejaz Ilmi. We have Tavleen Singh, who's joining us tonight from Patna. Also Sabah Naqvi here in the studio. Professor Rakesh Sinha of the RSS is with us. Manoj Jha, spokesperson of the RJD, and Jaiveer Shergill, spokesperson of the Congress party. Tavleen, let me ask you first. You're there in Patna. You've been watching the election scene there. Do you get a sense that now this entire beef issue has become the key issue, and the so-called politics of development that everyone's claimed that they were talking about has been sidelined?
Not at all. I've been in rural Bihar today and I didn't hear one word about this. All I heard about was development. So if the BJP actually makes this into an issue, they would be losing votes. Because the one thing they have in their favor is that they have raised the most important issue in Bihar, because Bihar looks terrible. Rural Bihar is 50 years behind the rest of India. And it's a shocking state of affairs. So, if they make this into some stupid beef issue, they will lose votes.
But do you get a sense that that's what it's becoming, that there's a disconnect between the political language that is being spoken by political parties across the board right now and what you have sensed on the ground there?
Well, you see, I don't go with politicians. I went on my own and I stopped and talked to Yadavs, and I stopped and talked to Mahadalits, and then I went to the school where the children died of a midday meal. And what I sensed was, of course, there's the caste factor to some extent, but the main issue that I have picked up from wandering about today is that people are desperate for real development, for, just the basic human things that everybody needs, like clean water and electricity and a hospital that is closer to that village in which the children died than Patna. So, those are the issues I've come up with. I haven't heard one word mentioned about beef.
And therefore then, Sabah Naqvi, how do you see it? And as a keen political observer and someone who watches the election scene closely, we're seeing the rhetoric actually rise in the last week or so, ever since this killing also happened. And suddenly everyone is talking about this in Bihar.
First of all, Nidhi, I think we should just be very clear that cow beef is in any case banned.
Yeah.
let's start off. So when we talk about beef, beef is used just to stoke up certain passions by certain let's say groups which are linked to certain parties. Mr. Giriraj Singh is in any case a politician who plays by that. But let me also tell you not so recent history in Bihar. Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee always believed that the 2004 election was lost because pictures of the Gujarat riots were taken and plastered all over Bihar. Nitish, this was an open analysis within the BJP. So when you have polarization, you have counter-polarization. Now, my guess is in the Nawada belt where Mr. Giriraj Singh is from, there are certain parts of Bihar which tend to be more sensitive to such things. First of all, I don't think that cow slaughter would always be an issue. We had the 1857 revolt began because a soldier chewed off a bullet which was lined with cow fat. So I'm not saying that cow slaughter would always be an issue. But let's not confuse things here about when we talk about beef, when they're talking about, the whole debate is just confused. Beef is buffalo when we're talking in Bihar. So this is just rhetoric by, even if the BJP says our campaign is about development, there's always a segment which always stokes this underbelly just in case. Because the logic of such politics is very simply this: you've got to unite a divided caste thing against a common enemy. That's how it works. And you hope that your polarization outnumbers the counter-polarization.
So in a way you're saying that there are two parallel strategies.
There are always two parallel strategies.
You talk about development on one hand and also try and polarize on the other. Okay, let's take that to the BJP first. Ijaz Ilmi, that accusation that Sabha is making, that there are two tracks that the BJP plays on. And isn't it a fact that there are so many leaders from your party who've been actually after the Dadri killing making statements that have actually been much worse? Many would say the reactions have been much worse than even perhaps what we saw happen.
Per se, the party has come out very strongly in saying that such things have to be condemned, and they have been condemned by very, very senior leaders, including Rajnath and Arun Jaitley, very clearly said that such kind of talk and divisive kind of polity and this mob lynching of akhlaq takes away from the development agenda of the BJP, and the BJP wants to stick to the reason why we got the mandate in 2014, and an extensive mandate, was very, very clear. If you look at the NDTV website, it just tells you economics, inflation, development, unemployment, and the crescendo and the appeal of people wanting to throw out the Congress party and wanting Mr. Modi, who represents development and growth and who successfully has shown that there is a way out despite the allegations of being attached to capitalists and all that. The fact is, every scheme is religion neutral, gender neutral. It works as a safety security for the last man. So the fact is, the propaganda machine works both ways. Unfortunately, it was started by the Congress for a very, very long time. You tell the Muslims that you are in danger, there's Hindu Rashtra coming, and then you won't get your targeted subsidies, you won't get your scholarships. You try and scare them away into a consolidated vote bank. But that's, Mulayam Singh has perfected the art. More than Bihar, this is a battle for UP. And Samajwadi Party obviously is also playing a large role in giving a kind of government which is being quite unjust to a large section of people, which is why the reaction is happening. We have to understand, when you are in government, you have to work for all sections, which is why people might say anything, but ultimately every government has to work for sabka saath, sabka vikas. If you try and differentiate on religious lines, you're falling in trouble.
Is the BJP, does the party play good cop, bad cop? So you have people like Arun Jaitley and Rajnath Singh who will say, who will condemn incidents like this, and then you'll have the others who are not fringe leaders, by the way. They are members of parliament. They are senior leaders in the party, whether it's a Sakshi Maharaj or a Giriraj Singh or a Mahesh Sharma, who's a union minister, or Tarun Vijay, who wrote that piece, and he's a member of parliament. And so they will say something else. So are they good cop, bad cop? They further one agenda while everyone else talks something else.
All these people who won elections, they won because of Modi's agenda, and that was development. Today, if they're saying insensitive statements, they are...
you agree they're insensitive?
No, the fringe statements on all sides are insensitive, whether it's on the right of center, left of center.
But these are not fringe.
No, the fringe can never be the mainstream. The mainstream of India is a secular democracy, and you will have fringe elements on all sides in every country, in every political parties.
Is Mahesh Sharma
Mahesh Sharma said certain things which were very, very good. He said, we have to get past it. Let's respect Sartaj's statement to let politics go by. Let's not communalize it. The fact is, people make insensitive statements, and at the time presently and for the future has to be how to heal the people. But unfortunately, the statements are made. It's very unfortunate.
Okay, well, you're saying it's unfortunate. Let me take this to Manoj Jha of the RJD. Manoj Jha, is this an issue that actually is being exploited by parties across the board now? Lalu Yadav has stoked up a huge controversy by saying that Hindus eat beef as well. That has gotten a counter reaction from the BJP that hasn't stopped attacking him for the last 2 days. So is this an issue that now political parties across the board in a sense are milking in Bihar before the polls?
Nidhi, let me put certain things in perspective, because a section of media has been very unfair to us. Number one, I must tell you, as a Bihari and as somebody who is a student of politics, I have never seen such unprecedented mobilization of the backward castes and the Dalits and the Mahadalits and the extreme backward castes and poor from the upper caste. Never before, to broaden the horizon of social justice, to revise the 49.5% quota limit, and to ask for a reservation and all kinds of affirmative action in the private sector. I mean, this was the matrix of Bihar election. Now, intimidated by that, and because of you don't have a leader, you don't have a commitment or a blueprint, now what they have looked for a savior in? A beef. Now, let me tell you, Laluji never said, he never mentioned Gomans. I have watched the footage very carefully. I have talked to the television channels. Why did you have to do this? Now, the issue is that BJP leadership is completely bereft of any idea. I feel very sorry for them.
What did Lalu Yadav say?
I feel very sorry for a political party which began from package, then to color television and Scooty, and look where they have reached. It's a degeneration of the political discourse I have never seen before. The fact is that we are going to win the election, and so they look for an alibi for their defeat under these kind of issues. Laluji simply said he had Kiran Rijijuji in mind, he had Shobha Day in mind, when he said that some Hindus, when they go abroad, or some Hindus here also, they eat beef. He never mentioned cow. And let me also tell you, cow slaughter is banned in Bihar since 1955. And Mr. Sushil Modi has the audacity to say that when we come to power, we'll ban it. What, I mean, you would reimpose the ban? A ban which is already in place? Now, this is very unfortunate, which I find. But the fact is that it is not part of the discourse of the common voter in Bihar. It's only a discourse in certain section of the television. And it pains us to see that Indian political discourse, mainstream political discourse, is not around development, inclusive development, is around eating habits, is around what will my kitchen offer to me. I mean, that's unfortunate, and that's a message to the Prime Minister. He speaks of moratorium on these kind of issues. He should begin from this so-called fringe, which is in fact the mainstream.
Except that I asked that question again about whether or not it is the fringe, and Professor Rakesh Sinha, I asked you, this question that is now being repeatedly raised now in the last couple of days is whether the Prime Minister can actually, say something on this matter and put an end to it. Do you think that he needs to speak out and say something?
No, there are two dimensions of the current problem. First, the demand for cow protection is not a new demand. In the 18th century, there has been Gorakshani Sabha, and the number of Gorakshani Sabha was in thousands. And most of the Congress leaders were part of the Gorakshani Sabha. So there were a coalition of forces who acted for the cow protection. It was not the agenda of a particular party, particular ideology. It is a cultural issue. Now this cultural issue is being targeted by a certain section of people who call themselves modernists, and they redefine the secularism. Protection for cows, demand for the protection of the cow has become the communal, and the demand for the eating beef has become a secular. Such a travesty of secularism in the present scenario, and Lalu Yadav is the best example when he gives a provocative statement and lowers the entire debate when he says Hindus eat beef. It was his statement, categorical statement. It was a provocative statement. He wanted a polarization of voters. He was appealing to a particular section of the voters that he stands for the beef eating. He stands for the cow slaughter. It was categorically clear. When some statements comes like that, there will be reaction, and that's why the BJP leaders asked him. This is a straightforward question to the RJD leader, whether you prefer the cow slaughter. And 21 states of India cow slaughter is banned. 21 states. So I think it is the duty of the state governments to impose the cow slaughter. to impose a ban on this cow slaughter. Why not you?
Okay, wait, Sabha wants, one second, Javed, give me a second. Sabha wants to just respond to what Professor Sinha is saying on this point.
Professor Sinha, I just have one appeal to make to you, because I am not at all saying that people should go around slaughtering cows. But why are you not very clear that when you talk about, why do you try to confuse buffalo with cow? It is not the same thing. It is scientifically, I have interviewed once a scientist who said it is genetically different. The problem is that people in the BJP, beef is allowed, cow is banned. Let's make a distinction over here. Everywhere buffalo, what they call bade ka gosht, is buffalo, it's not cow, that's legal. So the problem is right now in this sort of mob mentality is that people go around accusing others of slaughtering cow when it's buffalo. Cow is banned. So why do you play into that ambiguity? In fact, Nidhi, I think it's our duty to always be clear. When we talk about beef ban, there is beef which is of buffalo and there is beef which is of cow which is banned.
And the export of beef that takes place is of buffalo. But Javed, before I come to you, I want Manoj Jha to respond to that particular point that Rahul Sinha raised. You know that it is the RJD and Lalu's comments that were meant to polarize. Manoj.
Nidhi, can I come in here?
Yeah.
Nidhi, let me put that in perspective. It all began with an ANI bite he gave. And the ANI bite was in different slots, different tukras. Now those slots, if you see very carefully, it said that some Hindus, when they go abroad, they eat beef. Nowhere cow was mentioned. If you can show me, I can tell you I can accept any kind of punishment. He never said that. He only said that eating habits should not become part of the political agenda. He did not ever mention. We know that cow slaughter is banned in Bihar since 1955. How come? It's in fact we were just asking our people to be vigilant, because in this desperation what BJP was aiming to achieve, because they knew they could not break our alliance. They could not do anything to break our constituencies which stands solidly behind us. Now you bring in that kind of issue which you thought will pay you dividends. And let me tell you, I am debating here today, Nidhi, with you, together with lots of other my co-panelists. But Bihar is not debating that. Bihar is simply debating ideas of social justice.
Okay, I'll get a chance to respond to that, but let me just get the Congress in on one point. Javed, the question I want to ask is whether the Congress has also been tiptoeing around this issue, you know, and not really, coming out strongly. It took several days for Rahul Gandhi to, even go there. Digvijay Singh said yesterday if there's an overarching national law on cow slaughter, then, the Congress will support it and he may meet Mrs. Gandhi over the same. So, is this, a sort of a soft Hindutva politics that even the Congress is playing here?
Nidhi, absolutely not, and I want to make 2-3 points in which I'll answer your questions. Number one, whether it's Mr. Lalu Yadav, Mr. Sushil Modi or Mr. Narendra Modi, they cannot dictate whether I eat beef, whether cow or otherwise, even on foreign soil. So let's be clear. And secondly, I hope the electorate rejects this vote bank politics and politics of polarization across party lines. Number two, if you connect the dots, Nidhi, Delhi, Haryana, Mewat, Ballabgarh and Gurgaon, then Dadri and even Patna, Nidhi. Dadri is not the first incident. In Bihar, if you have district of Siwan, Muzaffarpur, Betia and Nalanda, the communal incidents are 667 since June 2013. In Bhagalpur, there are incidents of pigs in front of a mosque and beef in front of a temple. Now, if I connect the dot, BJP wants to contest this election on communal issues rather than governance issues. Now, why would Mr. Sushil Modi say, I will give a ban on cow slaughter when there is already a law? I heard Mr. Ilmi talking about propaganda. Now, Prime Minister Modi speaks about Make in India, but his leaders are spreading hate in India and he is speechless. He talks about propaganda. They are cherry-picking statements of their leaders. Mahesh Sharma called it an accident. Sangeet Som says in Hindi, हमने पहले भी बदला लिया है, हम दोबारा भी बदला ले सकते हैं अगर ना इंसाफों के साथ कोई गुनाह मासूमों के साथ ना इंसाफी हुई. Now, has any BJP spokesperson condemned this?
Everybody has.
None.
Everybody, last 4 days, everybody has condemned this killing.
Mr.
They have condemned this killing. They have said this killing.
I did not interrupt you.
Yes.
He's talking about the statement.
Then be factually correct. Don't make allegations and innuendos.
Now, Prime Minister Modi,
I have a question to a Congress
spokesperson.
Nidhi,
Javier, my point is, if there is a cow slaughter ban. One second. There is a cow slaughter ban in many states, more than 20 of them. Why does Digvijay Singh then suddenly talk about a national cow slaughter ban on cow slaughter, which the Congress will support? I mean, why wade into this debate at all then, Javier?
Nidhi, absolutely.
Nidhi, I have a question.
One second, Professor Sinha. 1 second. Let him answer. Yes, Javier.
Nidhi, I absolutely agree with you 100%. There is no need to weigh in this debate at this juncture. And the official party stand on this is that whenever this law will come, we will look into the final print and take a call then. Number 3, why does the BJP's reflexive communalism kicks in whenever there is a state election? Why can't the Prime Minister condemn this and put an end? 17th February 2015, last point. 2015, Mr. Modi made a point in the parliament saying, I will protect the minorities. Today, why not an assuring and comforting statement? Yes, I am here. I will protect. Those culprits are not innocent, sense claimed by Mahesh Sharma. Look at Shrikant Sharma, the Vice President.
Ejaz wants to respond, then Professor Sinha.
Gorakhpur says, the 17-year-old was not touched. You should be happy about it.
Yeah, and therefore what Javier is trying to say is what I asked originally as well, which is that the comments of people, senior people in your party, not the fringe, is what has stoked controversy and has outraged a lot of people.
The senior party leadership has come out very, very clearly. The fact that the MHA gave an advisory, and a very strict advisory, that tackle all these incidents, that we cannot allow the communal fabric to be disturbed, and on communal religious lines, we've been very, very clear. The government is incumbent on the government to take a strict action and to give an advisory to all states, not UP alone, but every state.
Do you condemn the statements of Sangeet Som and Mahesh Sharma?
No. There are certain statements which are made that law has to take its own course, but some people have made statements which have been insensitive. Even Javier today is making these statements. Respect Akhlaq's son's statement, Sartaj, who showed an example that you need to work hard in a level playing field and find yourself a job instead of being used that Islam is in danger, Muslims in danger, which you do. You haven't condemned the statement. The original sin was when Mr. Imran Masood in Saharpur said, "Ki boti boti kar dunga." Mr. Rahul Gandhi goes the next day and campaigns on the same stage. So if you sow the seeds of violence and this killing mechanism and boti kar dunga, you will face the reality.
Is that
assure the Muslims that they are part of this country, instead of saying that you are in danger and you're going to be overwhelmed. Don't scare them away. They are integral to the cause of India.
One second. Tavleen Singh, let me ask you on this question of the Prime Minister's silence. Now, we've discussed it before in the context of other incidents that have happened, but do you think that this lynching, this murder was something that did require the Prime Minister to say something?
Absolutely. I've said it before and I will say it again. The Prime Minister has harmed his own agenda by not speaking out, because this was not a communal riot. It was a stoning to death. So the very least that everybody in the BJP should be saying in the clearest terms is, this is not an Indian tradition. This is not the Taliban ruled Afghanistan. It's not Pakistan, and it's certainly not the Iraqi state or whatever that thing is called. So, it's very wrong what happened. It's beyond a law and order problem. And I really find it offensive when somebody like Rakesh Sinha talks about protecting the cow as if somehow by killing this man you've protected cows that are in the streets of this city unprotected, eating garbage with no one to look after them. I mean, I feel really bad for cows in India. So, why doesn't he go out and take his RSS people with him and protect the cows really in the real sense, instead of killing people for no reason?
Professor Sinha?
Yeah, I'm informing Tavleen Singh that there are more than 10,000 Gausala in the country, and near to Delhi. She can visit in Gurgaon.
They're not good enough.
There is a Gausala where 860 stray cows have been kept. So, Tavleen Singh, kindly don't link the killing of that person and cow protection. Both are two different issues. And you are assuming that the person was killed by the RSS people and the RSS inspired people. Such incidents have been condemned by each and every political party. And I am reminding you, Tavleen Singh, kindly listen to me. I have not interrupted you. In Uttar Pradesh, one activist was killed while he was protecting cows. Nobody let it take
you don't have to have a monologue.
It's a national issue. So this is a local issue which was made a national issue. This is a straight crime that was given an ideological color. Don't give ideological color to every crime. This is a pet habit of the secularists. And last question to the Congress spokesperson. In Bhagalpur riot, the committee appointed by Nitish Kumar has given report and blamed the Congress administration for the Bhagalpur riot, in which 1,000 people have been killed. And I say this is the perfect example of pot calling cat black. How he is talking of secularism. 1,000 people were killed in Bhagalpur riot, and the commission appointed by Nitish Kumar blamed
why do we
Congress.
always get into this sort of competitive?
This is the secularism in this country.
But you know, we always get into this sort of competitive. This
Nidhi,
riot was
point.
worse than that one. My question, Professor Sinha, is very simple. That do you distance yourself, do you condemn the statements made by senior BJP leaders in the aftermath of this murder, and do you believe that the Prime Minister should speak out? That the Prime Minister should say something? I mean, there is the example of that young boy in the United States who was expelled from school and arrested for making a clock, a young Muslim boy. You know what President Obama did? He just tweeted, well done, he tweeted, well done, Ahmed, and that message went out across the world. You know, the Prime Minister has tweeted on thanking the American people. He has greeted a governor for their birthday. He has greeted the people of China on their national day. He has congratulated a billiards champion in the last few days on Twitter, but hasn't said a word on a clerk's death. Professor Sinha.
Nidhi, I believe that any political figure should not make any irresponsible statement, particularly at this juncture. When there is a sensitive issue involved, there is a chances that there is a potentiality of polarization, and every chance of polarization should be deterred by every political leader, every responsible political worker. And I believe whether he belongs to BJP or belongs to any other political party, but media has tendency to selectively quote BJP leaders out of context, out of reference. Mahesh Sharma has been being quoted out of reference, out of context. He has never said that it was an accident. He said that it should be investigated and those who are guilty should be punished.
Mahesh Sharma has not said he was quoted out of context.
This was a local crime which was given ideological color by a particular section of the people. It was the failure of the law and order in Uttar Pradesh. Why don't you discuss the law and order of Uttar Pradesh?
Law and order of Uttar Pradesh is certainly a problem, but I'm asking you again, should the Prime Minister break his silence? Professor Sinha, should the Prime Minister say something on this? Why is he quiet?
Nobody made it a communal issue. Nobody made it a national issue.
Professor Sinha, you're not answering my question. Why doesn't Mr. Modi say something on this?
BJP, RSS, Hindutva and this Narendra Modi government, why Prime Minister should come after every incident? Don't expect Prime Minister to tweet on every incident.
Can I answer this question?
Nidhi, one point.
No, let me
answer this question.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister on September 19, 2014 said very, very clearly that the Muslims will live and die for this country, and they have negated the attempts of ideologues like ISIS, Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and they're an integral part of this country, and every targeted scheme of this country will continue.
So that's
People are making allegations that scholarships will be cancelled, more scholarships will be given. The reality is, how often do you want him to say the same thing?
No.
The understanding is that we are a democracy, and you have to keep on...
He can't say that he condemns,
you have to keep on answering.
He condemns the lynching of a man.
We don't want
it's a law and order subject in the state. Should he comment on every law and order subject in the state? He has made his intention very
clear.
clear.
Law and order matter?
He has made his intention very, very clear. As he looks at everybody with the same... Yes.
How is it? It's much more. Can I say something?
Yeah, Sabha, it is much more than a law and order.
It is much more than an ordinary law and order
I'm
situation. It is much more. There is no question. I don't know what Mr. Sinha's universe is. He thinks that it's much when people go around entering other human beings' kitchens on suspicion and on false propaganda that they are eating particular meat. And moreover, Mr. Sinha, for your information, what Tavleen Singh says, so many cows eat garbage and just die in the street, so your gauchalas clearly are not working. Farmers find it uneconomical to keep cows after they stop giving milk. But anyway, I don't want to have that argument with you, but I'm not even saying about cow. The fact is, how is it not a serious thing when people believe that they are, immune from any kind of punishment, when they can enter kitchens and start suggesting that other people eat meat, other people are eating cow? That means you're putting an entire section of society in danger.
Okay,
and no one is defending
Arun Jaitley. I want to make the last point. Everybody is condemning a crime against humanity, a blot in democracy.
Why not?
Let me give Tavleen Singh the last word.
Nobody is justifying. Anybody who is justifying.
Nidhi, I want to make a point.
Manoj Jha and then Tavleen. Yes, Manoj.
Mr. Sinha. Nidhi.
Yeah.
One question to Sawan Naqvi. A few months ago, a police inspector was attacked by a mob while he was protecting cow. Nobody made the issue. Nobody is discussing on television channel. He was also a human being. A political activist was killed while he was protecting cow in Uttar Pradesh. In 2013, 15th August,
all right, Tavleen Singh gets the last word. I'm out of time. Tavleen Singh.
Nobody made the issue.
Okay.
So don't define secularism. Don't take shelter.
Mr. Sinha, we are in 21st century. Please wake up to this reality.
You say.
All right, Tavleen Singh, last word to you.
Sinha,
Wrap this up for us, Tavleen.
How is living in 20th century? We are all part of 21st century.
Okay.
Don't make a political debate.
All right, everybody, guys. Let's let Tavleen have the last word on this, please. Yes.
I am appalled that Professor Sinha does not notice that this mob of Hindus went into somebody's house, dragged him out and beat him to death. That's quite different to some policeman be dying in the course of duty. So, you know, I mean, why has this not penetrated his head that this was, in fact, that is why the Prime Minister must speak, because this is not an Indian tradition. And, you know, I don't want to live in a country where people can go into your kitchen and then pull you out and kill you because they think that you're eating the wrong food.
Powerful words
That's
there.
the point of what
Powerful
happened
words there by
Tavleen.
Tavleen. I have to take a break at that point. Unfortunately, I think we will hear much more on this, and certainly very heated exchanges, especially in the run up to voting in Bihar. Thank you to you, Manoj Jha, for joining us, and we'll be back after a quick break on the day's other developing story today: a 400% hike in salaries for MLAs here in Delhi. Is that justified? Is this something that the people of Delhi voted for when they voted for us? That's after the break. Well, MLAs in Delhi could get a 400% salary hike. A panel appointed by the Delhi Assembly Speaker has suggested a huge hike, and that includes hiking their salary from 12 to 50,000 rupees and their constituency allowance from 18 to 50,000 rupees, among other things. The question is whether this is justified, and we have Raghav Chadha of the Aam Aadmi Party joining us here in the studio as well for this. Raghav Chadha, people will ask, you know, a 400% salary hike, if it is accepted by the Delhi government, it is huge. Is this something that MLAs need?
So first of all, it is an advice given by an independent panel constituted by the Speaker of the Delhi Vidhan Sabha. This panel includes the likes of PDT Achari, the former Secretary General to the Lok Sabha, the longest serving Secretary General ever in the history of India. It has Balraj Malik, a senior Supreme Court lawyer, PIL activist, and KV Prasad, a well-known celebrated journalist. Now these three independent people did a comprehensive study of the pay packages of the MLAs and of other states, etc., and came out with certain conclusions, and they are yet to submit the report to the government. I have not seen the report. I don't think that you have seen the report because it's not been made public. So first of all, you have the wrong spokesperson on the panel. You should have invited somebody from the panel to defend
we know
what recommendations have been made in that.
We know what
That's
the key
one.
recommendations
Point number two. You see, you also have to understand, and I can't comment on the report because I don't have the report, and that report is not prepared by the government of NCT of Delhi or by the Aam Aadmi Party. It's been prepared by a separate set of people, independent people, and the best people to comment on that would be those people. So first of all, they should have been on the show. That's one. Point number two, there are two types of politicians. One are corrupt politicians that take bribes. They first buy their tickets, then they accept bribes, they do corruption, they create scams like 2G, like Colgate, etc. And for them, buying a ticket is an investment, and they earn return on investment all throughout their period in the house. There are other set of politicians who want to do sustainable, honest politics, that want to do sustainable idealism, and they need meager resources to run their constituency offices, to run their, to manage their household. And so pardon me for saying this, one last point, Nidhi.
To prevent legislators from becoming corrupt.
No, just one last point, Nidhi. One last point, and pardon me for saying this. How much does a news anchor earn? Because you guys are the fourth estate. You guys talk about probity, propriety, transparency. You guys, no, but you guys talk about probity, propriety, transparency. So therefore, if you guys are in public life, news anchors are.
The taxpayer doesn't fund my salary.
No, please let me complete. If somebody, you guys your duty is equally important, if not more than that of a legislator. How much do you earn? You need some money to run your household.
How can you compare
the legislators need some money to run their household and their constituency allowances.
It is very much comparable. One
It is
second.
very much comparable.
How is it comparable when taxpayers don't fund
There
our
are four
salaries?
estates. There is the judiciary, there is the executive, there is the legislative, and there is the media. If the legislators are accountable,
the day that taxpayers start paying the media salary, then sure, you can disclose it.
Raghav, categorically, are you on national television saying that this advisory report is just advisory nature and the Aam Aadmi Party will not consider this report? Are you not going to consider this report? Because the
report has not reached us.
No history of any sector, private sector, public sector, media sector, do 400% hikes take place. It is unheard of. It is astronomical.
Similar
and the fact is, coming from the Aam Aadmi Party, you are self-appointed crusaders against corruption. Today you want to be self-sustained, enrichers and self-serving for your own cause. That would be a dichotomy and would be a slap on the people of Delhi. So be very clear. Are you saying that it's not going to happen or will it happen?
Okay, Raghav, quickly respond and get Tavleen and Sabha into this.
We don't have imperial fantasies like the BJP and certain members of parliament of the BJP that have given themselves some outrageous allowances and perquisites as well as pay hikes. This committee has only recommended that the basic salary of a legislator, from which is ₹12,000 rupees a month, with which you cannot run your constituency offices, with you cannot pay for the tea and water of every person who visits your offices, etc., should be made, say, 50,000 or whatever. The government has not received the report. The government is yet to first see the report, comment on the report, and accept or reject whatever advisory has been issued in that report. So I think we are creating a mountain out of a molehill.
And yet,
if
you are inclined, you have given, sort of laid the groundwork for why there needs to be a hike. But I think the question here, Tavleen, is maybe of timing. Because the Delhi government at the moment is also struggling with the crisis as far as hospitals are concerned, the fight against dengue. There's been a controversy over money being spent on ads and propaganda. Was this the right time to talk about an MLA salary hike, Tavleen?
It's always the wrong time, and I love sustainable probity, by the way, from people who came into public life to not live off the taxpayers, who came to serve the people of India.
Absolutely.
Now there are two things. One is, I actually believe that all our politicians should be given higher salaries. They shouldn't be paid peanuts, but they must give up living on public land. Because if you make commercial use of the houses that they live in, the Indian government will be in clover, and so will the Delhi government. So let them give up the perks and let them hike their salaries and rent out rooms in, let them live like other people. Then it's fair enough. But sustainable probity is too good to be true.
I just want to say that 12,000 rupees is actually shocking. I just learned this on this show because I think my driver may be getting more than that.
The cost of the government is much higher than that. It's about 80,000. It's about 80,000.
I will give you the
can I just say, so I was a bit shocked because I've just learned this, that it's 12,000 bucks. So there should be some, of course a 400% hike sounds outrageous. Yes, it is. When given the whole climate. So I can understand the political, sort of cost of appearing to.
Yeah. You see, first of all, if anybody wants to question 400% of how the report suggests that 4 times the salary or 4 times the constituency allowance, etc., should be given to the elected representatives, then you should question the people who are on that panel. Aam Aadmi Party has not recommended this, the government has not recommended this, and I'm saying this once again on this channel, that you've invited a wrong spokesperson. Somebody from the panel should have come to talk about this. That's one.
Now that you are here, can you give clarity on this? Are you going to reject it or are you going to accept it?
I am not the spokesperson of the government. I don't run the government. I am a small part of the party.
Do you think 400% sounds like a bit too much?
Sorry?
Do you think 400% sounds like a bit too much?
As I've said in my opening remarks, there are 2 types of politicians. If we are talking about, as I've said, that there is need for setting up alternative politics, honest politics in this country. We don't sell our tickets. MLAs who buy our tickets do not buy it as an investment and do not want return on investment. They are here to serve the people, and if they cannot run their constituency and allowance, they cannot pay for education of their children in 12,000 rupees. they
in
would
other words,
need
you
a hike.
welcome it. In other words, you welcome it.
I have not seen the report. How can I comment on it in the first place?
We're telling you what it says.
You
We're telling you what
you
it
are
says.
commenting on the kinds of
The
politics.
report has not been made public.
Can you tell us in which category does Mr. Tomar and Mr. Somanaj Bharti fit in?
And
Which category of politicians?
I will also explain
Yes.
this. No, just can I make one more intervention? Yes. There was a chief whips conference that took place in Visakhapatnam. Yes. The delegation was led by Venkaiah Naidu ji. In that meeting, everybody complimented the model being followed by the Delhi government of setting up an independent panel. This was also recommended by Somnath Chatterjee when he was the Lok Sabha Speaker.
Let me take that to
and
Tavleen
let me make one second,
I have to get everyone else. And Tavleen, is that an important point though? The fact that this is not a recommendation that has come from legislators themselves, as it happens for instance in the case of a parliament where an MP's panel has recommended hikes for MP salaries. The fact that this is an independent panel appointed by the Delhi Speaker, Assembly Speaker, does that at least give it a little more credibility?
Not to me, because what they should set up a panel on is to find out in how many democracies in the world do taxpayers pay for their elected representatives to live like princes. You know, you'll find that in England, I think it's just the Chancellor of the Exchequer and the Prime Minister the taxpayers pay for. In America, it's just the President and the Vice President. So we shouldn't be paying for their housing, for their subsidized gas, for their subsidized travel, but we should give them a higher salary, and whoever recommends it should recommend a fair, higher salary. But please, none of the perks, let them live like we do. We have to pay rent. So should they.
So as far as what is available from media reports, the recommendations of this committee are only about the salary, not about houses, not about flats, not about government land being given to elected representatives, and nobody in the Delhi government is soliciting such demands. As far as the principle goes, I fundamentally believe that certain meager resources need to be made available to every elected representative so that he is enabled to fulfill his basic responsibilities of an elected representative, and he has certain duties towards his or her constituents. That's
but the
one.
point she's making,
what about houses?
Exactly. Should they stay in publicly funded homes?
Who is staying in publicly funded homes? This recommendation or this report is only about salary. We are not talking about houses. This debate is not about houses. And as far as the debate on salary, the portion of salary goes, I think everybody except the BJP representative on the panel has accepted that there is need for hike. If you get to these 12,000
I'm saying a 400% hike is definitely astronomical, and it's only self-serving, sustainable enrichment. Sustainable enrichment, not sustainable probity.
How much does a member of parliament earn?
It's a sustainable enrichment program which should be condemned. A 400% hike is never happens in any sector.
But they haven't made the recommendation.
So accept it or reject it, or come out with an alternate.
They're accepting the principle.
Have incremental increases linked to inflation. Obviously, the parliamentarians are an integral part, legislators are of democracy. You have to pay them. But the fact is, you can't have a 400% hike. It's sustainable enrichment.
Can I make a slightly digressing point? I mean, actually, in the end of it, this is very small change for the fact that we don't have RTI. The political parties don't allow RTI into their funding. So crores come in, which is unaccountable for wealth. That's large-scale corruption. This is very, very small change we are talking over here.
But again, it's about the
I know. I mean, I'm not going there.
But that is a larger. No, what the party gets. So there's a de-link out there. You're de-link salaries of parliamentarians.
In a universe where you had to have RTI, where they allowed it in, then surely you would have to
Tavleen wanted to come in on this point.
Subsidize some of the politicians.
No, Nidhi. I'm sorry, she's completely wrong. An acre of land in Lutyens, Delhi is worth 200 crores or something like that.
I'm not talking about the housing, I'm talking about the salaries.
I completely agree.
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the salaries.
No, 1 minute, you're not...
I'm talking about the salary, I'm not even talking about the land.
I know. You're not,
the salary.
Just let me finish what I'm saying. You've got to link the salary to the perks.
That is a good point. I mean, I think
raise the salary, take away the perks. That's what I'm talking about.
There is free housing, phone calls. You see,
that is why I said at the outset that you have to first of all see the report, whether the report has gone into these aspects or not, and next time we don't mind appointing Tavleen ji to come and join that panel and decide what salary needs to be paid to the Delhi legislators. That's point number one. Point number two, you see, we live in a strange we live in a country where there are strange norms. Judges appoint judges, MLAs, MPs decide their own salaries. First time in the history of independent India, here is a small party, a small government that has made a beginning. Independent people have been appointed to decide whether there is a need for upward revision or downward revision, etc. That's point number one. Point number two, I completely endorse the point that no politician should acquire acres and acres of land in Lutyens, Delhi, and you know, to make a start, I would request the BJP to request all their union ministers to give up their palaces in Lutyens, Delhi. My leaders do not occupy such palaces. I would urge the BJP to first of all give up these palaces. Point number two, make it public who is funding you. You get thousands and thousands of crores. 80% of your funding is opaque. The Delhi High Court has indicted you for violations of foreign norms.
Our funding goes through income tax. It goes through all the statutory bodies.
Don't parrot this. Make it public. Who is paying you? Everybody gives you 19,000.
You haven't told us about your 5 fork checks of 500 crores, 50 crores, 50 lakhs. You still haven't done that.
Unleash the CBI.
No, we are interested. We are not interested. But your sustainable investment program for a 40% hike is something uncalled for. You should condemn it.
And the point that
the BJP and every political
people vacate government homes. Go on rent like everybody else.
No. I don't disagree. I don't agree with that.
You don't agree
I don't
with
agree with that.
central.
I don't agree. The chief minister, prime minister, and the ministers, what perks they get, they will continue. They have to be effective leaders and have to do their jobs. The salaries have to be moderate. Increments can be moderated. You can't have a 400% hike.
Just look at the irony.
Yes.
Okay,
just one last point.
Irony is that you have the last bungalow Kejriwal occupies is also an irony.
May I first go and have a look at the bungalow? Just let me go. You see, look at the irony. A legislator in Delhi is getting 12,000 rupees as salary. Somebody has recommended
80,000 is the cost of the government.
Let me complete. The recommendation has been made about salary. He gets 12,000 rupees a month. There is a hike that has been recommended. We have not seen it. I have not seen the report, but there is huge hue and cry. You ask the BJP spokesperson about their ministers vacating 5 acres of land that they have occupied in central Delhi,
by virtue of being elected, by the people.
Look at the irony.
Ajaz has made it clear he doesn't agree with that.
By virtue of being elected.
Well, let us see when that report does finally become officially public and what the Aam Aadmi Party government does do about it, whether the AAP government will actually stick its neck out and say, no, we don't want a 400% raise, 100% will do instead. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us tonight. Well, he is the most controversial and right now also one of the most popular figures in the US election campaign. Tonight in our special series on the road to the White House, we show you why Donald Trump is still the Republican frontrunner, despite being written off by the media several times. His lead may have shrunk, but Trump still has the last laugh over his rivals.
I will be great. I will protect.
He's dominating the headlines, but every time the media writes him off for his racism and sexism, Donald Trump has simply stayed on top. For the first time, the billionaire Republican presidential candidate's lead has shrunk in some opinion polls, though he's still the clear frontrunner in others. According to the latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll in the key state of New Hampshire, Trump's lead has come down from 16 to 5 points in 1 month. But another poll by the Pew Research Center says that Trump clearly trumps at 25%, with Ben Carson far behind at 16. This lead, despite Trump calling Mexicans rapists and saying a woman anchor asked him tough questions because she was menstruating.
Like when I went on dates, if a woman dropped me, which happened often.
So what do you think of the Trump campaign and some of the stuff he says?
Trump is an idiot, but, you know, I mean, he's a millionaire, billionaire, whatever it is, and America's a country based on capitalism. Some things he says I can understand. I mean, like, our country is in some form of $1 trillion of debt. He's a businessman. Maybe he can help get the country back on track as far as our debts, but he does say a lot of things that I don't understand. I think he's too bold.
I am a fan, and I think that in the beginning I thought it was a bit of a joke as well. But when I started to listen to him, I realized that I feel the United States has been led by a very weak leader, and that this man really has, well, what we call cojones. and I think he's accomplished a great deal.
Why do you think he's popular? I mean, why is he still leading the polls if everyone is so many people are so outraged by some of the stuff he said?
I think he would make a lot of people upset around the world, and I think he's a pompous ass. But then I like what he says sometimes.
What do you like? What do you like about what he says?
I like his aggressive style. See, our politicians. See, I'm a Republican, but the Republicans are real passive. They don't have a spine. But Donald Trump, he's got a spine. So I'm kind of torn. I mean, I like his aggressiveness, but then again, he needs some more tact.
Yes, I mean, he's definitely coarsened the debate. There's no question about that. The debate has gotten, really petty, and in some ways, he's had really vile remarks about people. And I think what I find upsetting about the process is that usually, candidates say kind of outrageous things, and then the political process tends to punish them for those remarks. What's unfortunate about where we are today is he'll make a kind of outrageous comment and his numbers will go up. And I think that is a kind of sad commentary about the Republican Party.
It's not clear whether Donald Trump will eventually get the Republican Party's nomination, but what is clear is that he's made this election campaign very colorful and certainly very controversial. Some say he's brought out the best and the worst in America. In Washington, D.C. with Ethan Bloom, Nidhi Razdan for NDTV.